Emma Davis there with the Deputy Regional Representative of the FAO in that exclusive interview. You're still watching the marketplace. The month of March marks exactly a year since Ghana recorded her first case of COVID-19. In the span of these months, the business community and all aspects of economy suffered severe disruptions, leading to over 40,000 job losses and 700,000 workers having their salaries slashed. In the following story, I chronicle the event as I share my personal experience reporting on the ground amid the pandemic. The lockdown restrictions wasn't just situated here in Ghana. We had the entire globe closing their borders to neighboring countries. What this meant was that the value chain of production lines had to be disrupted, and subsequently the manufacturing firms and industries in that regard had to now get most of their raw materials from borderlands that are hitherto not functioning any longer. What this meant was that the value chains were being disrupted, jobs were at hand, and production lines were at stake.
Everyone resident in these areas must stay at home for the next 2 weeks. However, if you must go out, it must only be to get essential items such as food, medicine, water, undertake banking transactions, or to use public toilet facilities.
As business people, we were taking cue from what was happening in other countries that had already been hit by COVID-19. Yes, 2020 was a bit very rough for us, starting from when we started recording, human interaction started reducing, purchasing power of people started reducing. And the highest hit was a point where we had a 2 weeks lockdown. You see, some of the businesses we run that are day-to-day businesses actually got hit a lot, especially when areas like Greater Accra, Greater Ashanti region had to go in lockdown for 2 weeks. And then it stalled a lot of things. Cars stopped moving. So yes, businesses, especially from all the sectors, even the agri that we felt that really did well, was having issues because a lot of things were changing.
Of course, the Ghana Statistical Service gave us a clear picture of what exactly happened in the span of these months. We're talking close to 25% of Ghana's workforce having to be laid off, having their salaries slashed, or even that of being furloughed. This was a dire situation in Ghana's workforce, of which business owners, the manufacturing firms, had no clue how to come out of.
Clearly, one of the major issues that led to closures of businesses was the partial lockdown in Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi, and indeed some pockets of the central region. Once we had partial lockdown, what that meant was that businesses naturally in these areas had to close down. Indeed, they had to close down involuntarily.
The tracker also reveals that more than 45,000 workers have lost their jobs during the partial lockdown, with those in the accommodation and food sector badly hit. So far, more than 500,000 workers have also had their wages reduced.
The accommodation and food subsector recorded the highest trough in sales. So although our bars mask the effect of the accommodation and food subsector, indeed the accommodation and food subsector recorded the highest decline in sales to the tune of 57%.
Now, in the wake of the job losses arose matters regarding, employer-employee relations. It became so murky. We had various bouts of employer agitations across specific public and even private sector environs, of which I was very interested in getting in touch with the Institute of Human Resource, the president, for example, who also doubles as the head of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Dr. Edward Kwapon. My question to him back then question was how best we could neutralize the effects of COVID-19 on employee-employer relations.
We know that some companies have closed down. They have declared redundancies. They have reduced salaries. But in the public service, government has been so gracious that we still pay. Nobody has suffered any salary cut as far as we are concerned. Of course, line managers will try to control cost in terms of the activity-driven costs. But yes, we are aware of this, but we are not. We are guided by a principle, the golden principle, that we shouldn't make workers worse off. So we will not make them worse off. We will try to stay afloat and pay what we are supposed to pay. Even though government is suffering, bleeding from that, I think governments have a duty to provide jobs and to keep those who have jobs in their jobs. So yes, it is endemic. It is having a toll on government, but we will not, I think, lowball whatever we are paying now. Going up might be difficult though.
The impact of COVID-19 was a whole chain, of gravity. One aspect of the Ghanaian economy that felt it so much harder was the aviation industry, because mind you, we're talking about travel lines, we're talking of investment flows through the airspace, and it was interesting to know, visiting the Kotoka International Airport, having to see empty runways, empty halls, and the fact that even those who were traveling had to be essential travels back then. The Kotoka International Airport was virtually shut down, and of which the then aviation minister Joseph Kofi Adda explained to us the extent to which damage had been caused the aviation sector, not just in Ghana but the entire West African aviation space.
The airports in Ghana, particularly the international airport, Kotoka International Airport, has also been shut down, and this has adversely impacted on all of the players in the aviation sector. The main operators, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, and the revenue that it gets, the Ghana Airports Company, the operator of the airports, and then all the affiliated agencies, whether they're subcontractors, they're service providers, such as cleaning companies or security operators or hospitality-related operators, such as those driving cars and carrying travelers from hotels to airport, from airport to hotels. All those people in the value chain for aviation have been adversely affected, which means that the revenues have gone down, which means that the employment is at risk. Some of them have lost their jobs. It's taken a toll on us and our government, of course.
It wasn't all about the doom and job losses, because we do know that COVID-19 also opened a space for the techpreneurs, those into fintech, to explore their potential within this margin. In a spate of just a year, interacting with most of these techpreneurs made me understand the fact that their profit margins had increased by 100% fold, even beyond that. It tells us the extent to which the going digital under COVID-19 was essential for the survival of businesses and as well the expansion of the Ghanaian economy.
Hi, my name is Henry Kobler. I'm a computer engineer by profession, and I run a tech company called ISO Africa. I think that the tech industry is thriving. It's becoming better off in terms of how we bring in solutions into the market. I think that from our end, we've been successful at getting across some countries and even providing these solutions to people. Looking at the numbers, it's always getting on the rise, and we're excited about it. But I think that COVID coming in sort of just gives us a bit of distraction, and I think that for us, it's also a good thing for us to look at a brighter side of what we're doing, because it opens a lot of avenues for us to explore.
It has been a bittersweet experience for Ghana's business community, both on the sides of employers as well as workers, because even though we had cases of job losses, it bestowed on workers and employers as well the burden of having to be innovative and cautious of the trends amid COVID-19. But now we have vaccines, and now we have government stimulus, and now we have the 2021 budget, which is geared towards economic recovery. The question to the minds of most businesses is, how do we harness the potential of the post-COVID-19 economy in Ghana? For most of them, this doesn't just remain a challenge, but also a responsibility. I'm Charles Aite for Joy Business.